Welcome to Momtroversial, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff we wish we'd known and nobody tells you. I'm Alyssa, a crunchy mom all about organic living. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wingwoman in any parenting bar fight. Tori and Leah are preparing for their international moves, Leah with a newborn, so they're taking a well-deserved break right now. So today Ryan is here. And we are going to talk about all things baby number 3 and specifically the uh, pending home birth, um, and kind of get your real thoughts on that because we have no script or anything. So we're really just going to go for it. Um, so as a little bit of a background, if you want like a really detailed background, you can go to our um, birth story episode from a couple months ago. But basically, our first 2 kids were born in military hospitals. Reagan was born in the hospital because honestly, we didn't know any better. I knew about home births, but never considered it. And Kennedy was born in the hospital because we were in Korea. I actually really wanted a home birth with Kennedy, and it was kind of a possibility in Korea, with a certain birthing center that also supported home births. But Ryan thought that when I said home birth, I meant free birth, which is where you have like no medical professionals whatsoever. And so he was way against that. So now with number 3, I was like, I'm not going anywhere near a hospital again. I don't have terrible experiences with hospitals, but I don't have good experience with hospitals. I'm not comfortable there. I don't believe they have my best interest in mind. I believe they have their best interest in mind, which is, of course, not inclusive of all doctors and nurses, but I just wasn't willing to play that roulette game. I wanted to know my provider. I wanted to know that she knew me and that kind of thing. So I told Ryan with this next baby, I was like, I'm having home birth. Actually, I said home birth or birthing center, but where we live in Arizona, a birthing center is not an option. So home birth it was.
Yep.
And so, what are your thoughts about it so far? Did you have any reservations? Do you still have reservations?
I think any reservations I did have kind of been quelled by the amount that our midwife, like, we spend so much time with our midwife. Like, it's every 2 weeks, it's a full hour up in Tucson. So we drive from
Where we live.
where we live in Sierra Vista about an hour, hour and a half north, depending on traffic, to Tucson, where we meet with our midwife. I mean, we kind of make a day out of it. You know, we take the kids to the zoo, that kind of stuff. But like even me, I feel like I know this woman. Um, and it's completely different because, like, I remember I went to a lot of the appointments with, Reagan and Kennedy, but it was like a different provider each time because no one knew who was going to be on shift when we took. So it was like, we're just going to
Mm-hmm.
shotgun as many people as we can
Mm-hmm.
throughout your visit so that maybe you've had 1 hour with them, and 1 hour is being generous because it's like because when you go to the hospital, you do the nurse and then you do the primary provider, for 15 minutes, if that. And then you're not even guaranteed to see that person in labor if they're not on shift. Whereas here, we're we know for a fact that the midwife is going to be here. The midwife's is she a trainee still? Or is she like a full midwife?
I
The
think
other
she'll
one.
be a full midwife by the time I give birth.
Yeah. So anyway, so we got 2 people that we spend an hour with every other week. I think it's after our next appointment, it goes every week.
Yeah. So to be clear, we're going every 2 weeks because I'm 33 weeks now. So starting at um 28 weeks, she moves to every 2 weeks until 36 weeks, and then it will be every week until I give birth. But before 28 weeks, it's once a month like a normal OB. The difference is that you literally sit in her office for an hour and you talk about nutrition, you talk about how you're feeling, you talk about
Yeah.
any questions you have, but like,
Half the times, like, we don't even talk about, like, birth. Like, sometimes we're just talking about life to kinda build that rapport so that we
mhm,
have that relationship for when they come down. I can be like, "Yes, I trust this person
mhm,
to, like, have my best interest in mind because she has taken the time to understand, like, everything that um, like, care about in having this birth." And then,
mhm,
like and then one of these appointments coming up, she's actually gonna have the appointment here
mhm.
in Sierra Vista where, she's gonna get the layout of the house so that the first time she lays eyes on our house is, when she's, in labor. So
Yeah.
that'll be good, I think.
Yeah, a lot of midwives will come to your house too, like for appointments and that kind of thing. But because of where we live and how far we are from um her and this midwife, she just you do come to her office, but a lot of midwives will do home visits for home births
Mhm,
for every appointment. That's just not our reality. So that kind of depends on where you live and what's available to you. But we've made it work driving up to Tucson and it's fun. The girls love having a fun day where we get to go to a restaurant and we go to the zoo and we do fun things.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's been really cool. She really takes the time to get to know us and will just chat with us if we don't have any questions or anything like that. With Reagan, again, if you listen to the birth stories episode, I go into a lot more detail, but I had a liver condition with Reagan that I've learned how to manage with Kennedy and this birth as well, or this pregnancy as well. Um, Actually, not just manage, but like ensure it didn't come back. Which I was told with Reagan that basically, you've won the genetic lottery. You're going to get it every pregnancy and it's going to get worse every pregnancy. That was what the doctors told me. And I just was like, there's no way. There's no way that that's just the answer. And so when I was telling her about it, uh, and I was telling her, for me with Reagan, I was taking Zyrtec because I have seasonal allergies, and a side effect of Zyrtec that the doctors tell you is a pregnancy safe allergy medication is cholestasis, which is that liver condition.
Yeah.
And she's just this midwife has been so receptive to, you know, nothing about my research and solutions is scientific. It's just it's worked for me. And, it does choline is the main supplement that I take to help. And choline is proven to help your liver, but, it's not really nobody talks about it specifically related to cholestasis. Um,
Mhm.
and she's been so receptive by it. She, when I told her about Zyrtec, she's like, I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look into that right after you guys leave. And when I told her about the choline, a couple weeks ago, she was like, I have another patient who has itchy hands and everything, and her bile acids are normal, but remind me what you did. And it's just like that kind of thing where you're treated like a real competent human being that just because I don't have some kind of medical degree doesn't mean that I don't know anything that I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And that just goes a long way to build that rapport and build that trust. I've questioned her on a lot of things and she doesn't mind being questioned. Whereas whenever I've questioned a doctor on it, they get condescending, they don't really answer the question, that kind of thing. And so I've just really appreciated that with
Yeah.
her.
It might just be her personality too. Like, I feel like she's not afraid to say, "I don't know something,"
Hmm.
and then willing to listen and learn.
Yeah.
So, like, I think if we were to ask our midwife, she would probably say something like, "I don't know everything. I know a lot," but, like, she's always willing to learn something new.
Yeah.
And the perfect example is the Zyrtec thing you were just talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. She's really great. It's the first time I've been excited to give birth. I've always been excited to get a baby out of my body, but I've never really been excited to give birth. But I just feel so supported in this birth. We also have a doula for the first time. With Reagan, I didn't even really know doulas existed. With Kennedy, I cheaped out. Um, but with this baby, we're 100%. We have a doula. She's great. The doula has also worked with our midwife for a while. So there's no like, oh, I wonder how they're going to like
Work
interact with each
together.
other
Yeah.
kind of. So that's really nice. And our doula is the same way where, we sat with our first meeting with her. We sat with her for 2 hours and just talked. She got to know us. We got to know her. She did come down to our house, which was
Yeah.
really
She's
nice.
coming again in a few
Yeah.
weeks or a
Uh-huh.
month.
Yeah, so she does 2 visits pre-birth, because TRICARE doesn't cover a doula until after 20 weeks. So you have to wait until you're 20 weeks, and then she comes around 36 weeks, um, to do kinda like that final prep,
Mhm.
and to, like, do hands-on practice, that kind of thing of support techniques. Um
And what I like about the doula is so like I want to support Alyssa when she's doing her, doing the labor, but like for me, birth is all theory. I just don't have the plumbing. And so like it's nice to have a woman advising me on how to best support her because she understands the physicalness of what's going on to where like in a way that I can't. Um, so like for example, like transition to me is 100% theory. Like I understand the concept of it, but like I don't have that intimate knowledge that she has of transition because she's gone through it twice and
Mhm.
like it's just not an experience I have or will be able to ever have. So it's nice to have that female advisement on how to best support her during this very female time.
Yeah. I One of the first things I told the doula, I was like, "You're my doula, but you're my husband's doula." Like, because I don't wanna cut him out of the process because he is my biggest supporter, but I also cannot be telling him what to do in the middle of everything. Um, so yeah, that's been really great. I'm so excited to have the girls more involved too, because at the hospital, they just couldn't really be involved
Yeah,
if we were at a hospital, but I want them, I think if it's in the middle of the night, we're gonna wake them up, like, right when it's time for the baby to come,
yeah. I think
because I
yeah,
think that'll be really special.
yeah. I think Reagan is a little bit more excited than Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy doesn't quite understand it. Reagan,
Eh,
the other day, Kennedy said, "Mommy, is your baby coming?" And Reagan goes, "No, KK, her uterus is still closed."
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think Reagan definitely understands what's going on.
Mhm.
Well, she definitely understands it more than Kennedy, but
Yeah.
I th like, when we asked him, "Do you want us to wake you up in the middle of the night if we have baby Quincy in the middle if mommy has baby Quincy in the middle of the night?" And Reagan said, like, "Yes, do not I want to be there, I don't wanna miss it."
Mhm.
And Kennedy said, "Yes," but I think she was saying yes because Reagan said yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like which is kind of also typical for Kennedy. Like, I'll be like, "Who wants to go on a walk?" Kennedy will say, "No, I don't wanna go." And then Reagan said, "I'll go on a walk." And then magically, Kennedy changed her mind. So, I think Kennedy
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be, like, disappointed. Um,
She's just 2, and she just doesn't totally understand yet.
yeah. So, like
She's happy to be along wherever Reagan's going, though.
yeah. So, I think if Reagan comes, like, Kennedy's probably gonna come too.
Yeah. We're having My mom will be here, theoretically,
Yeah.
hopefully, and that she'll be kind of in charge of the girls,
Mhm.
if, I'm in labor during the day or just, as the person to wake them up at night. Um So that'll be nice because, again, I want Ryan to be involved in the labor and birth.
Yeah. I can't do both.
Yeah. So,
So, it'd be nice. So, we have a lot of support coming. We have 2 midwives, a
Mhm.
mother-in-law, a doula.
Mhm.
That's 4 people plus 2 toddlers, which, they're probably a net wash, but, like,
Yeah. It'll just be nice to have my mom there too, though, because that was I remember specifically with Reagan, at one point, I was like, "I just need to talk to my mom. I just need to see my mom."
yeah, I remember that.
But Kennedy was a little faster, which I think
That
helped,
was actually
but
kind of nice. Sorry. So, like, so it was COVID. Well, it wasn't really COVID, but it was like
people still thought it was COVID.
COVID protocols were still, like, in effect when we had Reagan. So, like, only one person could be in the room at a time. We broke that rule all the time. But, like,
They
uh,
didn't care, it was just still the policy.
yeah, it was, anyway, so, like, at one point, her mom came up and talked to her. So both our moms were in town. So obviously, like, both of them couldn't come up according to the rules. So Diana came up, and then I went, and I think I went to, like, Burger King with my mom. And honestly, like, I think we were only there for like 30 minutes, but it was a nice break. Actually, we went to Wendy's because you're a Wendy's person. And then um it was a nice, like, mental break for me because I'd been awake for probably like 50 of the 60 hours that we were there at that point.
It was a 33-hour labor, but, you know.
Yeah, but they didn't initiate it.
Yeah.
They didn't initiate right away. Whatever.
It wasn't 50.
All right, I was awake for the like
He
33
was awake a
hours.
really long time.
I was awake for like 28 of the 33 hours. She got more sleep during that labor than I did. And then so it was a nice, like, mental break to just go to Wendy's with my mom because we picked her up food, and then, like, I just, like, talked to my mom about we didn't really talk about the birth. We just talked about other stuff.
Mm.
And then you obviously got your talk with your mom. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Is there a Wendy's in Service though?
Yes. Over by who am I kidding? I don't know where. Uh, the UPS store.
Really?
Mhm.
I don't know where it is. I don't think I've been to it yet.
You
Because
haven't? Probably. I have
let's be
quite a
honest,
few
I need to know
times.
where it is if you're gonna give labor, because I've gotten you Wendy's every time. Or I got you Burger King's, there was no
No.
Wendy's in
Yeah.
there's no Wendy's in Korea.
Ugh.
Big old thumbs down.
But yeah, so
But there is Chipotle here, so
that's
we're
true.
on the up and up.
I don't want Chipotle though. He wants Chipotle.
Well, if I'm going to Wendy's, I'm going to Chipotle.
Another big thing that'll be extremely different with this birth is the unavailability of the epidural. With
Yeah.
both Reagan and Kennedy, my goal was to avoid the epidural, and it didn't. I ended up getting the epidural for various reasons each time. Um, and so that has been kind of something that I've had to work through to like have the confidence to do this and to have the confidence in myself that I can do it without the epidural. Just because, I mean, quite frankly, 2 times I've not been able to do it without the epidural. But I think that the changes and adjustments I've made to my birthing space, if you will really help me get through that because, there was just with Reagan, it was just I was exhausted. It had been, I think, 27 or 28 hours by the time I asked for the epidural, and I was too tired. And it wasn't progressing because it was 37 weeks and she wasn't ready to come, but they were worried about my liver. With Kennedy, I kind of panicked because the only doctor I trusted at that hospital was on call when I came in, but I could tell that I was not having a baby before she would leave. And so that I totally panicked. I had them break my water. Terrible decision. It was awful. Got the epidural. Essentially is like the long story short. Um, but with this one, well, the midwife is there until we have a baby, right? Um, the doula is there to ensure that Ryan knows how to properly support me, um, whether it's with like pain management or just like getting in my face and making me do the things that I need to do, or even helping me relax, whatever it is that I need.
Mhm.
Like that's literally her job, is just to know what I need. Um, so that'll be good. We have a birthing pool, and I was a swimmer growing up, so I'm always been more comfortable in the water. Even like when I had really bad like period cramps, all I would want to do is take a bath, and it made it so much better. And they call water, like, what do they call it? Like medicine-free epidural or something like that. A natural epidural. Um,
Sure. I
so
don't
that I think will make it a big difference. And I think just being at home and being somewhere I trust with people I trust is gonna make the biggest difference and help me be able to relax and be patient and that kind of thing. Because that is really the biggest issues I've had at the hospital is I'm not relaxed. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
They want you being monitored 24/7. Uh, the hospitals I gave birth in at least did not have pools or anything like that. The best I got was a shower, and the shower's kind of
It's
helpful, but
fine.
not really. It was like the definition of, that's fine. Um, so I think that that's gonna make a really big difference for me. And I'm actually reading a book right now that a friend just gave me called Pain-Free Childbirth: Every Woman's Blessing in Jesus. And I'm literally like 20 pages in, but it is interesting so far. I feel like I want to believe it, you know? I want to believe that it's possible to have a pain-free childbirth. And it's not that I don't believe that this author had a pain-free childbirth, but I'm like, how, having 2 births that were most definitely not pain-free, like, how is this possible? So we'll see how this book ends up. But it has been really cool to read about, so far, and I love that it's coming from a biblical perspective, um, too, because I fully believe that the only way you could ever possibly have a pain-free childbirth is if Jesus was involved in it. I've been using the Christian hypnobirthing app, which is really nice. It's just like constant positivity, super calming. I like to listen to it in the bath or right before I fall asleep, that kind of thing.
You do?
Sometimes I do it when I take a nap. Um,
So not at night?
Sometimes at night. I might do it tonight.
I've never noticed that.
You're usually asleep before me.
It's true. I do go to
Yeah,
sleep before you because I get up way earlier than her.
as it should be. Um, but yeah. So that's been interesting. I don't know. It's just gonna all be very interesting and such a different
Different.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll make it all the way because like all the reasons she got an epidural before in the other 2 births, they're not a factor in
Mhm.
this one. So like I think you're gonna make it all the way. Because like even if you're in pain, you're not gonna feel rushed because our midwife's gonna, peel out of here.
Mhm.
It's like, yes, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but like you're gonna have time to like deal with it and not just rush through it so you can have somebody you trust in the room.
Yeah. And before we left the house with KK to go to the hospital, like I was like in real labor, I was having the contractions were just a couple minutes apart. They were lasting a minute long. Like it was hard, real labor, but I was managing it. It was fine, and even once we got to the hospital, it was fine. I just stalled out, so I was just having those contractions and nothing was happening, and so then,
Yeah,
by
and
the
you try to
time
force
I
the issue.
yeah, by the time I realized that and tried to take matters in my own hand, it backfired,
And I
as it
think
does.
yeah, I think that's why women have such painful births is because they try and force the issue. Like when they go to the hospital kind of like forces them, like force the issue, push like we got to keep progressing. Like that, like
Mhm,
how many times have they said that in both of them? Like we need to get this progressing. We need to get this
mhm.
moving. And it's like, do we? It's like I don't believe that's the way that God designed it to happen. And if we just submit ourselves to the way that God designed it, I don't think it would be nearly as, painful and uncomfortable.
Yeah, if the baby is fine and the mother is fine, then maybe not progressing isn't the greatest thing in the whole world because you always want to make progress, but it's not going to hurt anyone.
Well, it's like something like let's
So
say you start stalling, like our midwife isn't going to come down here and be like, all right, get it moving. She's
yeah,
going to be like, okay, everyone's healthy. Just
yeah.
keep stalling, I guess. Like,
Well, and the doula, she's literally trained in physiological birth. She's
Mhm.
not trained in hospital. Well, she is trained in hospital birth. She's
Yeah,
does hospital births,
she
but
does both. Yeah.
compared to a doctor that works in a hospital who's only trained in hospital type births, the doula and the midwife are both trained and very experienced in physiological births to where they can say, okay, you know what? Nothing's happening right now, but I know that we can move into this position and this could help get things moving again. And not in a way like we got to progress, but let's work together to see what we can do to A, make me more comfortable, and B, get the baby out of me sooner because that is the goal is to get
Yeah.
the baby out of you kind of as quick as possible.
Yeah. It's true.
So, yeah. What about the fact that the midwife has to drive probably from the time we call her to the time that she walks in our door will probably be an hour and a half
Yeah.
minimum
So we,
from
we asked that question in our last appointment,
Mhm.
and then they're like, originally their answer was, "What? As soon as if you think you should go to the hospital, wait an hour and then call us." But then they did the math on how far away we live from Tucson, and they're like, "Actually, call us when you go to the hospital because we need that time to drive, um, down here." So we'll call her and it's when was gonna take her to the hospital because she, was whatever, she was fine. But then
I'm worried I'll be s maybe not physically comfortable, but mentally comfortable at home and just be like, "No, it's fine. I can work through it. I can work through it." And then, all of a sudden we have a baby and there's no midwife there. Um, which, isn't the worst case scenario in my brain because that means that baby came fast and that sounds good to me.
yeah,
But there's a reason we have the midwife. Like I would prefer her to be there.
yeah, me too. Because yeah, because like, what you don't want is there to be like some type of complication that someone who's actually delivered babies could handle. For example, the umbilical cord was wrapped around Kennedy's neck, but
Mhm.
that doctor, I mean, she delivered like 1,000 babies or something. And it was like, she kind of like just mentioned it in passing, like, yeah, I mean,
After the fact.
she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever, the umbilical cord is around the neck, but like it was,
Apparently that's very common though, Karen was saying. Our midwife. She's saying it's super common and it's just something you just take care of as the baby's being born.
that's what I'm saying. So like for me, like if I don't want the thing to be like super tangled or whatever, but
Yeah. Yeah. So
so like
it'll be interesting.
I think just having like that experience in the room would just make everything like,
And they're willing to be like on the phone with us if that were to happen, that kind of thing, which is helpful.
yeah, for sure. Cause like the baby's coming, like, I would really like, a midwife on the phone being like, "All right, here comes the head. Check these kind of signs or whatever while the baby's coming, and okay, you did it." So,
Yeah. We'll see. We'll do a recap episode too. Um, after the baby's born to see how many of our thoughts and assumptions were actually somewhat realistic.
yeah,
But we're
that would be
excited.
cool.
I'm excited to have a baby and then be able to lay in my own bed and not have to shower in a nasty hospital shower.
Oh, the other thing about the midwife is she does the laundry, and then
I know. Isn't that great?
she was like, "Yeah, like, whatever mess happens, we'll just, like, start the laundry, do a last minute or a last check-in, and then leave." And I was like,
Yeah. She
"So."
said that by the time they left, the only way you would know we had a baby was because we would have a baby,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. And they stay for, what did she say? 2 or 3 hours after
I don't
they have decided. You might not have been in the room, you might have been with the girls. But she said they stay for 2 or 3 hours after they've decided that mom and baby are stable. So, if it takes an hour or whatever for them to determine that we're like completely stable and good, then they'll stay for an additional 2 or 3 hours. I can't
yeah,
remember which one it is.
yeah,
Which was kind of nice to know because I just didn't know.
yeah.
There's so many questions. There's so many times that I've said, is there a question that I'm not asking that you feel like I should ask? Just
Well,
because I don't know, I've never done a home birth before.
yeah. And also, it's like, you spend so much time with the midwife that, like, at least for me, I would be like, I don't know what to talk about anymore." I'd be like, "I feel like I've asked you everything."
Hmm.
I might be like, so yeah, like the same thing. Yeah, because they've even asked me, they're like, do you have any questions?" I was like,
Yeah, they're not just focused on me. They're focused on Ryan. They're focused on the girls. Um,
one thing,
they want to know everything about us and our preferences and how we like interact and that kind of thing. Not just it's just really like holistic healthcare is a whole body approach, right? And this home birth midwife seems like she takes like a whole family approach, which is really nice
yeah,
because it is a whole family event.
like the thing that kind of like sold me on her is she was talking about like the probability of stuff happening, and I was like, numbers. I can talk numbers. And so her point was, it was like, I don't remember the exact figures, but it was essentially like, uh, she had she was talking about one of her births, and she had like some type of indicator that said she had like a 1 in 200 chance of something like having this adverse
Mm,
reaction. And then, but that's not even the thing. So she had like a 1 in 200 chance of having this condition. But even if you have that condition, there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance that, you, um, it's like actually harmful. So like, it's like, if you do the math, it's like the chances of you actually having a harmful birth because of this whatever indicator was like astronomically low, to the point where it's like, statistically insignificant. And what she said was, she was like, "I'm betting that I'm just not going to be unlucky,"
mhm,
because essentially, like, I mean, things happen there's like certain amount of numbers that happen at each birth, but that's over a collective. And like the chances of, just because you have an indicator that says that you could possibly have whatever condition,
mhm,
that, like, like if it's a 1 in 200 chance, and then on top of that, it's 1 in 1,000 that is actually gonna be harmful. It's like, we're talking about, you have like a 1 in 200,000 chance of something happens. That that means, like, that's crazy. That's like, if you take any football stadium, like the average football stadium holds 50,000 people, multiply that by 4, and then you only pick one person out of those 4 stadiums. It's like, it's nice to have the midwife there in case you're that one person, but the chances of you being that one person are 1 in 200,000 or whatever. So
Yeah. She's really great with, obviously we don't vaccinate or do anything like that. And she offers some things and doesn't offer others, I believe. I think she offers everything that's technically recommended.
yeah,
But in no way have we ever felt pressured. If anything, I felt like she's like, I offer it because
she has to be a certified midwife.
yeah, that's the standard of care that needs to be offered. But I've never really felt like she is offering it because she thinks like, no, you need to do this, or like she's never made me feel that way, which is really nice. She's very she wants you to be informed.
Yep.
She's not she won't just, say whatever and move on, she cares enough that she wants us to be informed about whatever it is we're talking about, but at the end of the day she's so respectful of our decisions.
Yeah. She really
So,
is.
yeah. I almost want to be here long enough to have another baby with her, and I haven't even had this baby with her. She's just been so great.
Yeah, she's been really good.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much it so far.
yeah,
See what
I don't have
happens.
anything else to add on it
Yeah.
other
Well,
than
do you have a dad traversal moment, Ryan?
a dad traverse. I'm not sure I do.
I have a mom traversal moment. Reagan lately has been telling me whatever the plan is for, whether it's a game or our day or anything like that. And then she goes, yeah, so mom, that's the game plan. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
great.
I think of a good one. Put me on the spot here.
Wow. You have been editing our episodes for the past year.
Yeah.
So
Um,
kind of knew it was coming.
yeah, I guess so. Oh, I have one. So on the weekends, I let my beard grow out a little bit, and Reagan doesn't like it because when I give her a kiss on the cheek, because it kind of like scratches her cheek. So she told me, she said, "Dad, I just don't like your beard." And then so on the weekends when I don't have to shave, she goes, "Dad, I think you should shave today." And so, so yeah, so like we had a 4-day weekend, so I got longer than normal on the weekend, and so she was like, "Dad, you can kiss me on the forehead, but that's it." And I was like, "Okay,
She said, I'm not a fan of your beard, Dad.
yeah, I'm not a fan of your beard." And then
That's
I'll
so
ask her, "Do
funny.
you like my beard?"
And then KK comes in, I like your beard, Daddy.
Yeah, so she's all about it. I can scratch her up and she doesn't care.
Typical second child.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for listening to us ramble on. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to hear us talk about something that we haven't talked about yet, or you want to hear more about something that we have talked about, hit us up on Instagram. We suck at updating it, but we do respond. And that is at Momtroversial_podcast. But again, thank you for listening. If you like us, please rate us 5 stars. It really does help. We have like 8 ratings on Spotify, which, isn't that much, but it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
So appreciate all of you people that rated us. I was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
But we will talk to you next time. We're coming at you with vaccines soon. Talk to you later.